lot of worries about screen time, and that those are valid. Parents should to some extent be worried about screen time. There's been a lot of studies around the associations between spending more time on screens and higher obesity rates, so like lower physical health. A lot of people have mental health concerns about what spending all your time on Instagram does to your mental health, or using the Snapchat filters all the time could give you kind of a false sense of beauty standards. And also internet and game addiction is also a huge topic that's talked about a lot. And I wanted to provide this statistic for you just to help you contextualize that even though it is a concern and we hear all about it in the media, it does only affect 4 to 8.5% of US children. So to me, I was kind of surprised to see how low the statistic was compared to how much I hear people talking about it and read about it online. So the old screen time rules, and these are ones that I think, at least from when I've talked to parents, a lot of parents have heard about this rule, but might not know that it comes from the American Association of Pediatrics, called the 2x2 rule. So they said, no screens in the first 2 years, no more than 2 hours a day. So those pictures that we saw earlier of the babies in front of screens, that would go against this rule. And so any kid who's over the age of 2, screen time is fine as long as they don't exceed 2 hours a day. Again, these are the old rules. But things have changed. So not only has the pandemic changed a lot of our interactions around the computer, kids probably had experienced at one point, unless they're still experiencing it, doing online schooling. And this has really, changed how we thought about whether screen time is good or bad. I also wanted to point out that in addition to the pandemic taking things online, the world has also changed in that we now have digital natives. So children who grew up with technology devices. I know when I was growing up, I had my first laptop at age 5, which I think at the time was really young, but my dad was also, had his own software company. So we had computers in the house all the time. So for me, it was really normal. And so because the experiences of children might not match our own, it's kind of hard to know, what is appropriate, what's not appropriate. I wanted to show some statistics and figures for you. So this was a survey done of children who are 0 to 8, whether they had a smartphone in the home, a tablet in the home, or their own personal device from 2011, 2013, and then to 2017. So you can tell that these data are already 3 years old. And if we did the same survey and asked the same question today, we might have, these might go even further up. But what's interesting to see is how stark this difference is between 2013 and 2017, especially when looking at kids who have their own tablet, ages 0 to 8. So most kids are in a home with a tablet and smartphone, even in 2013, but really what's jumping out is them having their own tablet. And I'm going to show you another one here where this is asking about kids' own devices. So this shows whether a child had their own, any mobile device, a tablet, a smartphone, an iPod Touch or something similar, which is funny because now I don't think anyone has an iPod Touch, an educational game player, which I think is similar to what we saw in that one picture of the child in front of that device, or a handheld game player. And as you can see here, the iPod Touch, which is the purple line, stays pretty flat and low, but what really shoots up is this tablet here. So it's children have their own tablets. Also during this time, and the world has changed so rapidly, is that social media platforms have exploded. So we think about MySpace and Facebook being the first ones, but we've now grown to, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok is the one that exploded this year, along with these other social media platforms like Twitch, Slack, or Discord that You know, Slack, I personally think of mostly as a work, kind of something like a work chat, but a lot of youth also use it to gather around and chat about different things that they're interested in. And Twitch and Discord being really big in the gaming spaces, and people using these kinds of platforms more in social ways and not only in for games. So this is also very different than what we've experienced before. And we have a lot of gaming platforms now. So maybe if you have younger children or even older children, they might have played Minecraft or Roblox or even Scratch. That now these social games where, you know, kids can play with other kids around the world, these have proliferated as well. So I mentioned before we had our old screen time rules by the American Association of Pediatrics, which was the 2x2, no screens in the first 2 years, no more than 2 hours a day. They have since revised this rule, and the new rule to them is for children 2 to 5, limit non-educational screen time to about 1 hour per weekday and 3 hours on weekends. For kids 6 and older, encourage healthy habits and limit activities that include screens. So you can already see here that there's a shift in thinking around, you know, it's not about how much screen time, but what kind of screen time. We can't really avoid screen time at this point.